It's my great honor as a board member of Third Way to welcome honorary co-founder, or co-chair, I should say, of Third Way, Senator Chris Coons from Delaware.
Well, thank you, Rachel and Josh. Thank you to everybody from the Third Way team who's pulled this together. And thank you to all of you for being so attentive and engaged. I know this has been a long, thorough, detailed conversation, so I'll seek to be relatively concise for a senator in offering some summation and some comments about where we find ourselves. I also want to give a shout out just at the outset to my senior senator, Tom Carper, who is a 23-year Navy veteran and also someone who believes in the potential of nuclear energy, and as the senior Democrat on EPW, someone who will play a significant role in future directions here. And I also wanted to say at the outset just how grateful I am for the leadership of Secretary Ernie Moniz. The last few years I got many opportunities to engage with Secretary Moniz, both in my appropriations role and my foreign relations role, two different committees, where I got to see and hear his vision and his capabilities, his contributions. And I just think it's worth our thanking him for having left DOE with a blueprint of how we can reduce carbon emissions at the same time that we can be a global leader in clean energy, innovation, energy security, and nuclear security. I mentioned Secretary Moniz because one of his legacies, mission innovation, represents a path forward that I think all of us could agree is worth sustaining. A worthwhile goal for the joint collaborative efforts of more than 20 nations to double clean energy research and innovation. And there was a complementary, as many of you know, private sector effort called the Breakthrough Energy Coalition. And these reinforcing efforts show that while government alone can't create a clean energy economy, they have a key and critical role to play in convening and bringing together and supporting the private sector, academic, nonprofit, and public sector leaders in making sure we seize the opportunities that are right in front of us. According to a January DOE report, commitments made in Paris last year will help usher in a $60 trillion global clean energy market over the next 25 years. And as we all know, that can be an enormous opportunity for the United States, but an opportunity we will miss if we don't double down on innovation, research, and investment. China has just announced a plan to invest something like $360 billion in clean energy innovation and deployment by 2020. Our competitors, as we all know, are not simply standing by. And while we in this country seem to be stuck on a debate about whether climate change is real or not and what path forward we should go in fossil fuels versus renewables, the rest of the world is moving forward. And so one of the reasons I was excited to come and join you at today's summit on advanced nuclear is it offers a critical opportunity at this moment of transition. We have long as a nation been a global leader, I'd say even the capital of innovation. And the world's best scientists and technologists, innovators, have come to the United States to discover, develop, innovate, and deploy some of the most compelling technologies of the last century. Whether we will continue to lead in this century, I think, is a critical leadership decision that faces Congress and the new administration. We've got a remarkable, I'd say unreplicated anywhere in the world, national network of national laboratories, which date from the very dawn of the nuclear age and which give us a critical competitive advantage. We have the world's leading research universities. We have the most competitive private sector and the world's best entrepreneurs. And we have very deep and robust capital markets. The question is, can we align all of those around this special, almost unique opportunity? And we can't take our role as the head of the innovation table for granted. If you just take a look at the news of the last few days and weeks, Russia recently brought its BN-800 fast nuclear reactor to 100% power for the first time. China is progressing also very quickly, and next year should have a high-temperature pebble bed reactor that can replace existing coal facilities and use existing infrastructure. We know that there are dramatic needs for new energy all over the continent of Africa and in India and elsewhere in the developing world that will be met by coal-fired power plants, traditional power plants, and perhaps by natural gas, and where there is an enormous and yawning need for a deployable, safe, manufacturable, affordable nuclear alternative that doesn't contribute to greenhouse gases and that could be done with American technology and American manufacturing. And from what I've heard, the private sector is ready to step forward and act, but the federal government needs to play a critical and constructive role. So, more than 50 companies, backed by well over $1.3 billion in private capital, developing plans for advanced nuclear in this country. What can Congress do? First, get along. You may have noticed we have difficulty getting along. And in this space, I hope you have been encouraged by the remarks that you've heard at this conference by Senators Booker, Scott, Murkowski, and Whitehouse. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, all of whom are on relevant committees, all of whom have interest and engagement. So simply coming together around something would be good news for all of our home states. What I hear up and down the state of Delaware every time I'm home, which is much of this week, is folks want jobs, and they want jobs in manufacturing. This is an opportunity for us to create high-quality, high-skilled American manufacturing jobs that also meet some of our objectives in terms of the environment, in terms of exports, and in terms of energy security. So we can do things together to help new technologies overcome key stages in the pathway towards innovation and commercialization that can help smooth out the so-called valley of death. We can increase the accessibility of our national labs and accelerate partnerships with those who are innovating, and we can continue to support demonstrated proven programs like ARPA-E and encourage support for initiatives like GAIN. There's bills that have been referenced like NECA, there's others that can and should be introduced and move forward, but more than anything, we need your voice. We need your advocacy, because what pulls issues up on the prioritization list for senators is hearing from folks they respect and value about things that are possible, things that may not be widely covered in the press, things that may not be understood by most of our staff, but things that are a moment of opportunity and of hopefulness. So let me, to everybody who's helped make today possible, principally Rachel and Josh, but all of you, say thank you. Thank you for investing your time in this conversation. Thank you for demanding that at the dawn of this new administration, in a sharply divided partisan Congress, a group of now 5 senators come together and say focused, purposeful, and positive things about advanced nuclear. And don't let up. Hold us accountable for a constructive vision that says we can and should find ways to work together that'll actually make America safer, stronger, more robust, and more secure in this century. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming down from Delaware. Thank you to Senator Coons, and really appreciate you coming down from Delaware and making time for this. And your leadership is really appreciated.
Yes, thank you.